Commanders, how are we doing today? Hopefully you all are doing very well today. In today's video, unfortunately, it needs to be one of those rant videos. Kind of just feeling the bait and switch, as some people are calling it, I guess, that Scopely's put out again and again, and for some reason fell for it again. But I want to talk about the Gorn Eviscerator and the sourcing for the blueprints. And if you feel the same way, feel free to leave a comment below. Feel free to send a nastygram in the nicest way possible to Scopely and let them know your frustrations if you're in the same boat. And maybe at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal because the loop adds some to your gameplay, but it's not a huge improvement. I kind of feel like it's a letdown this month. Talking to some players who have the Eviscerator, the new Gorn Eviscerator, and maybe with the updates that they've come out with, maybe that's a change where they've updated the warp range and the warp research. So maybe that helps. But before we jump into it, I'll show you a couple things and just share my frustrations with you all. If you will go ahead, if you are new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It really does help grow the channel. Hit that thumbs up and the bell notification so you can be kept aware of future content. So what I've done is I've pulled a screenshot from my own video. Now, when I made the original video, I was just going off of the patch notes and what they said in the patch notes. I'll have to learn to be wary, I suppose, in the future. But going off just what the patch notes said, and if I hyped things up inappropriately, then I apologize. Didn't mean to set that kind of expectation, but it feels like that's kind of what happened here. But let me pull up a copy of the patch notes here. So we've got, this is just a screenshot of the original, which they have changed. I didn't see any announcement about this. I tried to go through the announcements to see if I missed it, and if I did, I apologize. But I went through the announcements. I couldn't see anything about this. I've yet to see anything about it. I posted a question in a Discord. I've asked around a little bit, done some investigation, but I don't see this anywhere. So here's how it reads, or how it did read, I should say, on the day that the ARC launched. So talking about the Eviscerator, there will also be a weekly Gorn technology event that all players will be able to participate in that will reward players with blueprints. This was sold to us by Scopely with the patch notes, and multiple content creators have talked about this. The belief was that it was going to be kind of like a Cerritos event style, meaning that you'd have a weekly event that by completing the event, you would get a certain number of blueprints. And the belief that was that this was going to be like a 90-day, 3-month process to unlock the Eviscerator free to play. And given the recent history, excuse me, given the recent history of how ships have been sourced, that was about an appropriate time period. But it was sold on the belief that this was going to be like day one sourcing. Just to mean that immediately there were going to be events available for the Eviscerator. We had a discussion in my alliance, and someone said on day one, where's the sourcing? I don't see any events. Well, we haven't seen any events. Not on day one, not on day two, not on week one, not on week two. We're now in week 3. We still don't have an event for any blueprints that I've seen. Unless they hit it like in the Eviscerator event for Build the Eviscerator and I completely missed it, but I haven't seen it, heard it, or no one's been talking about it. So what they did, let's get rid of that and then pull up the current patch notes. And we'll zoom in a little bit so we can see that a little bit better. All right. So it reads exactly the same, except there will also be a weekly Gorn technology event that all players will be able to participate in that will reward players with blueprints. Date TBD. To be determined. So is that going to be during the ARC still? Because the ARC's almost done. Is that going to be next month? Next year? I doubt it's going to be that long, but Did they put this out there because they weren't making as many sales as they thought and they wanted to give it time to see what people were going to actually be spending on this? Is the ship and the loop that poorly received that they've basically pulled it from the shelves? Well, not even put it out on the shelves, I suppose. This is like me going to work, doing a good job all year long. My boss coming to me and saying, hey, you're going to get a raise. It just has to put all the paperwork through. And then a month later, asking my boss about the raise. And then my boss saying, well, you're going to get it. I just don't know when. Can you give me a timeline? Nope. But it's coming, I promise. Immediate dissatisfaction, Scopely. Whenever you set a precedent or whenever you state something and say this is going to be available, and then you don't make it available, immediate dissatisfaction. And you shouldn't be worried as much about the people that are complaining on Discord as much as you should be the people who are silently just quitting because they're fed up. Does this mean you shouldn't worry about the people that are complaining? No, that's good feedback. But the problem is when you pull stunts like this, where you offer something and then yank it back, because that's exactly what it feels like. You can comment below and tell me if you feel any differently. But when you promise the players, you make a statement on an official website and you say it's going to be available, and then you don't provide that, but you actually pull it back and say, just kidding, you'll get it someday. Then that's a huge letdown. And be honest, if you put date to be determined initially, then we would have been expecting, okay, maybe it's not going to happen right away. But the fact that you had it out there and then without telling anybody, you just put date to be determined to cover your own butts. Well, multiple videos are out there that show, actually document proof that you did not have to be determined on there. You've got to do better. You can't keep releasing stuff and then changing the plan. You can't release content and then have the content be broken. You just can't do that. Knowingly releasing content that isn't ready for launch is bad business. I'm sorry, it just is. So that's where we stand with it. At this point, as the research I've been able to do and reaching out, I haven't been able to find anything out yet. I'm hoping they will release soon this content, and I'm hoping it's this month. I mean, we're in the last week of the arc? I'm hoping they release it very soon so that people can start working on it, those who are going the free-to-play route. And hopefully Scopely can get the message that you've got to be transparent, you've got to be authentic, but we can't trust you when you pull, let's call it BS like this on the player base. But like I said at the beginning of the video, maybe you don't care because it's not being well received anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter to you. But to be a reputable company, you really need to be able to have good communication. Part of that communication is not offering, blueprints day one or week one and then not providing it. So anyways, hoping to get out some more content to you all later this week, but that's kind of my 2 cents on this. And I'm hoping that we can get better content next month. Hopefully you'll find some good stuff in the event store this month that will help you in your gameplay. But for now, just keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun, whatever that means for you in the game, and don't let Scopely dictate to you how to play. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you next time.